फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सबको नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर।
सबको नमस्कार। तो वो जयसेन जी का ग्रेट आइडिया था कि ये एफडीपी शुड बी डिवोटेड टू साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी because as we noted in the beginning, it is a general impression that India's knowledge is all about, Shakuntala and Kumar Sambhav, and some bit of, Bhas drama, that is literature. But it is Max Muller who said that these are the valleys of Indian knowledge. The peaks of Indian knowledge, the peaks of Indian knowledge are the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Brahmanas, the Pratishakyas, the Dharma Shastras, the Buddha, the massive Buddha Vangamay, the Pitakas, the Tripitaka, and the Jaina Vangamay, which is among the largest that is on the internet and available today. So we have a massive body, and I think it's our maybe misfortune, I don't know. And some people say that we people, keep on progressing. That is, we keep on forgetting. Unless you forget, how can you progress? But then, it's unfortunate that the educated Indians, disaffiliated Indians, जिन्होंने ये अंग्रेजी की शिक्षा प्राप्त की है, they are disaffiliated Indians who are cut off from their heritage, their tradition, and their roots. They are cut off completely. So they suffer from lack of self-confidence, हीन भावना, उनमें हीन भावना है कि हमारे में तो कुछ नहीं है, हमारे सब खराब है, इस समाज में औरतों के साथ धक्का होता है, गरीबी बहुत है, दलितों के साथ धक्का होता है, मतलब we are a perpetually mourning people, the Hindus. You see, our good friends, our Muslim, Shia Muslims, they have Muharram only once a year. But our good Hindu friends have Muharram every day. हम खराब हैं, हमारे यहाँ कुछ नहीं है. अब हम भूले बैठे हैं, like Hanuman ji, Hanuman syndrome, we have forgotten. Now we are getting it back, not because, some of us are trying. Because there is an internal dynamics in this country. There have been cycles of loss and recovery. So we are now in the phase of recovery. And it is because the pressure is from the ground. I find the new generation, the young generation, very keen to know about themselves. Very keen. And they want to know. Because they want to know, so more and more people are talking about it, and trying to find out. Now the problem is that there is a difference between, first of all, let me also clarify that what we call India knowledge, Bharat ka Gyan, it is sedimented in the minds of the ordinary Indians. जैसे पानी का गिलास में आप रख दोगे, सैंड नीचे बैठ जाती है. इसी तरह भारत का ज्ञान जो है वो एवरेज इंडियन के अंदर सेडिमेंटेड है, अंदर बैठा हुआ है, बिकॉज ऑफ two important things. One, we had a massive vernacularization movement from 11th century onwards, beginning with Ramanujacharya ji, who insisted on giving discourses on Brahma Sutra in Tamil. And he was asked by the Choda king to leave his kingdom, and the Mandya king, between Bangalore and Mysore, Mandya, the Mandya king gave him refuge and asked him to go to Melkote, a 3,000-foot mountain, beautiful place. नरसिंह भगवान के मंदिर में उनको भेजा, वो वहां पुरोहित बने, और 12 साल, 12 years, he gave discourses on Brahma Sutra in Tamil there. Even today when you go, you can see the platform on which he sat. And those discourses have been published then, he composed later in Sanskrit, Shri Bhashya jisko kehte. So vernacularization started in this country in 11th century. When Sanskrit world broke up and the invasions of the Arab invasions began and Sanskrit institutes were shut up, then our great minds, they started vernacularizing the Indian knowledge. And they did that by transferring that knowledge into Indian languages. And you can move around. The entire Bhakti movement was a movement of vernacularization. From Ramanujacharya, you come to Baswanna to Gyaneshwar, Gyaneshwar to Narsi Mehta to come to Meera. There were many Meeras before Meera, Meera is the name we know, but there were many Meeras. And from Meera to Punjabi on Shah Hussain, Guru Nanak, Ramanand in Banaras, Sarala Das in Muria, and Jaidev in Bengal, and then Shankar Dev and Madhava Kandali in Assam. There is a garland of these people, great Bhakti poets, who presented the Vedic knowledge in the language of the people and metrically, meter में, क्योंकि जो छंदोबद्ध होता है वो याद बड़ी आसानी से हो जाता है, आदमी उसको समझता है. तो इस तरह ये वर्नाकुलराइजेशन हुई. Secondly, the knowledge permeated the minds of the people through what is called the katha parampara, pravachan parampara. हमारे यहाँ आदि शंकराचार्य attested है that he used to move around the country, and after certain number of koshas that a sannyasi has to cover, he would sit outside a village, and the villagers will come in the evening who knew that ye paka nahi khate hain, phal aur anaj leke aate the. Then they will ask some question and he will start explaining. And in the languages of the people, he gave pravachanas. 3 times he moved around the country on foot and spread, and he bound the Indian mind, he unified the Indian mind in Advait thought, Vedanta ka Advait thought. Every Indian today, whether he is a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Sikh, every Indian is a non-dualist. You just watch his language, अरे कोई भेद नहीं है, अरे वो और ये सब एक ही है, ये तो सब एक ही है. You see, this is very common. So we all became Advaitins thanks to Shankaracharya. So जो कथा प्रवचन परंपरा, even today when you open the TV channel in the morning, there are people like Avdeshanand ji, who is the chairman of the akhadas. He is the chief of the akhadas. He is a Naga sadhu. And Murari Bapu, the great Rama Katha, one who narrates the Rama Katha. Listen to them. What knowledge, what profundity, and how poetically presented. And millions of people listen to them. How many people listen to Kapil Kapoor? आप 25-30 बैठे हो, you are 25 people listening to me. But Murari Bapu is listened to, Deshanandji is listened to by millions of people. And they communicate. I remember a great idea that Deshanandji once said. He said, what is the Vyakti Dharma? What is the dharma of an individual in our society, हमारे समाज में शास्त्रों के अनुसार? वो अर्पण, समर्पण, तर्पण, ये 3 शब्द कृपा करके आप नोट कर लीजिए और इन पे विचार करिए. अर्पण, अपने को अर्पण कर दिया, ये करना है. समर्पण, पूरी तरह डेडिकेट कर दिया, और जब कर दिया तो उसका तर्पण कर दिया. नॉट फॉर मी, ये जो मैंने किया ये मैंने अपने लिए नहीं किया. ये है व्यक्ति का धर्म. और इसलिए हमारे यहाँ जब शादियों में भी आहुति डालते हैं, उस बोलते हैं इदम न मम, ये जो मैं कर रहा हूं ये मेरे लिए नहीं है, नॉट फॉर मी. उन्होंने अवधेशानंद जी ने कहा, और समाज जो हिंदू समाज है उसके 3 शब्द बोले उन्होंने. 3 बोले उन्होंने शब्द. उत्सव, सेलिब्रेशन. Hindu society is a celebratory culture. Hindu culture is a celebratory culture. We celebrate even death, because death for us is not the end. It is the beginning of another cycle. So we celebrate even death. Utsav, upavas, fasting, and उत्सव, उपवास और उपासना, प्रेयर। आप अपनी लाइफ ऑर्डिनरी देखिए, एवरी ऑर्डिनरी इंडियन, हमारे वेरी वेरी रिच पीपल, they keep fast, they don't eat, and there are people who don't work, and they tell you they won't work, but the society should feed them, and the society feeds them. So these two procedures, vernacularization and katha pravachan parampara, it disseminated the knowledge and it permeated the Indian mind with that knowledge. Permeated. Therefore, knowledge in India is not egalitarian, nor for the egalitarian people. Knowledge in India is highly democratic in the oral tradition. It has passed through in the oral tradition. It is highly democratic. अब ये सब हो गया. अब ज्ञान ग्रंथ बहुत हैं. I think endless. You pick up a single subject, and in our tradition, you have a primary text, and then you have a long tradition of commentaries. You cannot be expected to be a master of the discipline unless you have read, studied, analyzed, understood, आत्म साक्षात्कार नहीं किया आपने सारे ग्रंथों का और related ग्रंथों का. There are 9 schools of grammar. You have to be master of 9 schools of grammar if you want to talk about Panini, Panjastadhyay. And it was possible because the texts were oral and texts were very small. So this is a massive tradition. अब हम we are talking about अब करना क्या है, आगे क्या करना है. आगे क्या करना है, एक तो तरीका बड़ा सीधा है, भूल जाओ, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. जो अंग्रेजी पढ़े लिखे हैं, भूले बैठे हैं, भूले रहो, let it go on. The dynamics, the power of ideas is such that in any case it is going to come up. And it will swamp us. One day it will swamp us. When in IAS, you started allowing the Indian languages as medium. You started having different kinds of IAS officers. You see? And they were not purely English, who came from the schools. And the social change follows. In the same way, the knowledge is bound to come up. But then, practically, I have one very important suggestion, Raghavji, and then I think I will pass it on. You know, Sri Aurobindo said, a people who lose their language, they lose their soul. जो लोग अपनी भाषा खो देते हैं, उनकी आत्मा मर जाती है. This happened to Ireland when the Irish language was superseded by the English language. And it's another matter that what we call greats of English literature today are mostly Irish. Whether it's Yeats or Joyce, they are all Irish people. But then you lose your language, you lose. And what in 1835, what the wise British people did was to kill your soul, because they said that now we will produce people who look like every Indian, but in their opinion, values, morals and intellect, 4 चीजें, opinions, morals, values and intellect, they will be British and they will be our interpreters. Interpreter word वो use करते हैं और हमारा शब्द है दलाल, वो हमारे दलाल बन जाएंगे, जो हम चाहते हैं वो करवाएंगे, वो करेंगे. और even today, the ruling class is an interpreter of Western civilization for the Indians, for the ordinary Indian, Western civilization. Now, how will we do it? The British, Macaulay is a great man. I am great admiration for Macaulay because he knew what his country wanted and he did it so successfully. You see, how will we do it? How will we produce these interpreters? And this second clause is the key. We will not teach them in their language. And with that single decision, they assassinated the Indian language, killed them. And till today, how many? 35, 65, 165, 22, 187 years. For 187 years, our education is being run by the same formula which was set down in 1835. then the formula is very simple. E, E, E. That is English, education, employment. We have not broken it. So, sir, the way forward, I have spoken of this to, I think, 3 education ministers. I have spoken to 5 education secretaries, but nobody listens. So I will not. When I give the examples, please don't mistake me that I am putting myself in that category. At the end of Mahabharata, Ved Vyas says, "I have been shouting with my arms raised that dharma is above all." But who listens? Who listens? And in Plato, in one of his dialogues, later dialogue, he says, "I have been shouting with my arms raised that goodness is above all." But who listens? Because remember what Aristotle said: wealth does not bring goodness, but goodness brings wealth. So goodness is above all. So nobody listens. So I have been saying this. One thing that you need to do, sir, one thing, and that will solve the tangle of your education. All this subordination of mind and colonized mind and decolonized and all that. That is, make state languages the medium of instruction. Make state languages the medium of, there are 22 state, 20 or 20, no, something like that, some figure, state languages. And by the way, five states have English as the state language. So English will be the medium in those languages, those states. But every state language should be the medium of instruction. See the consequences. People will be using their language, Karnataka, they will be using Kannada. And those teachers will be preparing textbooks. And when they make textbooks, they will be taking materials out of Kannada literature, Tamil literature, because they are familiar with that. And you will have all over India, textbooks which have Indian material. Now people think that will kind of divide the Indians. No, not at all. Because all Indian languages, all Indian knowledge that is present in these languages comes from the same source. The same source, the Vedic स्रोत, उसका स्रोत, उसकी मानस गंगोत्री एक ही है, सब वहीं से आता है. And 70 to 95% of Indian vocabulary of modern Indian languages is tatsam tadbhav Sanskrit vocabulary. Tatsam tadbhav. 70 to 95%. In my mother tongue, 95% of my vocabulary is Sanskrit tatsam tadbhav. See? So people will come closer to each other because they are using the same words. That doesn't mean only using words. They are dealing with the same ideas. And the ideas have come down are a hoary ideas, 5,000 years. They have a pedigree of 5,000 years. They have a pedigree of 28 cycles of loss and recovery. We have 27 Vyasas, 27 Vyasas. Now, Vyas is not only an individual, Vyas is an institution. 27 times our knowledge was lost, it came back. And every time there was one man who was instrumental in one thing. He reactivated, reconstructed the Rig Veda. That is the key. And in 19th century, by 19th century, Indians had even forgotten, except the Pandits, who had it in their mind. The academy had no idea of Rig Veda. Max Muller reconstructed the Rig Veda in the 19th century. And he said that even if all the copies of Rig Veda are lost, you can reconstruct the text from the minds of the Brahmins, much abused Brahmins. We have made Brahmins the Jews of India. What the Europeans did to the Jews, they blamed everything on Jews. We blame everything on Brahmins, forgetting that all our texts, if our texts are alive today, if we have 10 million manuscripts, if we have granthas which actually exist, it is because the Brahmins, in great penury, in great deprivation, the families took responsibility for some granthas and kept them in their mind and passed them on from one generation to the other. We should be grateful to them. We should be grateful to them. We have fallen a prey to the British policy. I will mention an article. You are all very bright young people. 1884 का एक आर्टिकल है आर.जी. भंडारकर का. आर.जी. भंडारकर, रामकृष्ण गोपाल भंडारकर जी इनके नाम के भंडारकर इंस्टीट्यूट है पुणे में. उनका आर्टिकल है, उसका टाइटल है एंटी ब्राह्मणिज्म एज ए स्टेट पॉलिसी. एंटी ब्राह्मणिज्म एज ए स्टेट पॉलिसी, आर.जी. भंडारकर. तो एक बार पढ़िए. And let us, we have become, you know, what we should be proud of, we have become ashamed of. And then we say, how are we going to go forward? How are you going to go forward? How are you going to go forward? Therefore, make state languages the medium of instruction. You have to do nothing else. Nothing else. The knowledge will come back on its own. You know, I think I have already told you earlier also, maybe you or some other people, Max Muller is abused by all these English educated people. वो Christian evangelism कर रहा था, spread कर रहा था. He badly translated. He translated Rig Veda in such a way that it appeared nonsense. These are people who have not read, who have not read Max Muller's translation of Rig Veda, nor Griffith's translation of Rig Veda. You see, Max Muller worked on Indian text for 62 years. To way forward, we don't have scholars today who have even turned one paragraph of a manuscript into published material. One paragraph, you know. And here was Max Muller who reconstructed 23 texts in 62 years. 62 years. And that is how your knowledge is back with you. Our Renaissance, India's Renaissance, did not happen in Bengal. In Bengal, the Renaissance that happened was a colonial Renaissance. We became liberal in quotes, all these secular and liberal. There is a colonial Renaissance. But actual Renaissance, revival of learning, it took place in Europe, it took place in Germany, it took place in France, and it took place with men like Max Muller, who worked on 23 texts. And when at the end of it, you know, he was asked, you have done so much for India and you have not gone to India. Huh? He said, when I had time, I had no money, and now I have no time. But now listen to this. But if I go to India, I will like to go to Varanasi, and I will like to be cremated there. I will like to be cremated there. Kindly read. Max Muller edited 50 volumes of Sacred Books of the East. Sacred Books of the East. 50 volumes which contain 72 texts. 72 texts हैं इंडियन उसमें. लाइफ लॉन्ग काम किया उन लोगों ने. हमारे यहाँ हम लोग तो अपना डियरनेस अनाउंस की, हमारी डियरनेस अनाउंस जो नया अनाउंस हुआ है वो हमारी सैलरी में ऐड हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? 6th पे रिवीजन के हिसाब से हमारी सैलरी रिवाइज हुई कि नहीं हुई? अरे हमारी गाड़ी पुरानी हो गई है, नया मॉडल आ गया है, गाड़ी ले लो. I mean, when the teachers become commercial people, है ना, जब उनको कर्टेन्स, ब्यूटीफुल कर्टेन्स ज्यादा मैटर करते हैं than ideas, तो क्या होगा? Way forward is we should have scholars devoted, अर्पण समर्पण तर्पण वाले स्कॉलर, जिन्होंने अपना जीवन पूरा भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को अर्पित किया हुआ, समर्पित किया हुआ है, और अपने लिए नहीं, वाइस चांसलर बनने के लिए नहीं, प्रोफेसर बनने के लिए नहीं, उस ज्ञान को फैलाने के लिए. दूसरा, भाषा का माध्यम बनाइए. रीडिस्कवर योर सोल एंड द बॉडी विल कम बाय इटसेल्फ. बॉडी तो आती जाती है ना हर जन्म रीबर्थ से. सोल अपना पकड़ ले हम, अगर इफ वी कैच अवर सोल, आई थिंक वी विल बी एबल टू. So very concrete suggestion, sir. Teachers who are not facilitators but who are scholars, arpan samarpan tarpan wale. And secondly, the medium of instruction, including science and technology, the medium of instruction should be the state languages. And in 5 years, you will have a decolonized India. Today, our Indian minds are translated minds. and translators' minds. Translated minds and translators' minds. आप भाषा माध्यम बदल दीजिए, we will become independent thinkers that we were once. That we were once. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Raghav ji.
Thank you so much, sir. From a grand kaleidoscope of the civilizational journey to languages, to oral traditions as technologies, to the idea of medium of instruction, I think whatever we tried to capture in the last 14 days, it is the greatness of a scholar like Kapil Kapoorji. They're able to give it to all to us in 30 minutes. I now invite Dr. Joy Senji for his remarks. Your take on what he had suggested, and then we'll...
Namaskar, sir. How are you? Sir.
Thank you.
So I want to all of you and Kapilji, this wonderful explanation. It was like waves after waves coming on the shore, but it was just coming from one sea of responsibility, one sea of responsiveness, and one sea which is absolutely deep, as he said, Arpan, Samarpan, and Tarpan. I just want to play on these words. As Kapilji, I cannot say wonderfully said. He said from a life that he has practiced. So his life is his philosophy. His philosophy is his teaching. His teaching is his time with us, and those words came from him. I think this 15 days has been so wonderful. I've watched a few in-house. Honestly speaking, I've watched a few online when it was happening, wherever I was. And I watched a few later, honestly speaking. I'll make it very simple. I still remember going to a sari shop just before marriage for my elder sister. And they wanted to buy a Banarasi sari in a big shop, and my aunties and all my mother's friends, they were all there. And they were just, they just went to the shop, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And they picked up this sari, and they picked up that sari, and they picked up those saris and this saris. And within about 15-20 minutes, there are about 100 saris right on the table of that shop. I just compare this sari shop to India, this closet of a variety. One Varanasi sari, one Banarasi sari, if you say it in Bengali language, but there are about 1,000 variety of them lying on it. So it's like that Rig Veda sloka, Ekam Satvipra Bahuda Vadanti. One sari, and I still remember till about 2 hours, my relatives, my mother, my aunties, they could not take a decision. They could not take a decision which sari they're going to take. And finally, I think someone from the shop came and helped them to pick up one sari.
Unstable,
yeah. So somehow I compare this example to the case of Bharat, which is India. I think like our family had pounded into the shop, and they had invaded the shop for about 2 hours and trying to take a decisions. And I think there have been similar families prior to them, and there'll be families after them, pounding on the shores of Bharat and trying to take away this sari and that sari and those sari. And it's like a plethora of saris. And those shopkeepers on the other side of the table had all the patience, all the diligence, all the care and the love. This is the shore of Bharat, where thousands and thousands of races have come in, probably hundreds and hundreds of races have gone out. But this beautiful country has been able to absorb, assimilate, and embody all this variety as one body of truth. That is absolutely unimaginable. Right from the highest flights of Vedanta to the simple lowest flights of folk tales that we see on the banks of Varanasi, or maybe in a small shop in Kalighat in Kolkata, or maybe on the banks of Shipra river in Ujjain, or maybe on the banks of Kaveri in the south. I think this is a wonderful country where knowledge system becomes something which cannot be defined by strict rules and regulation, which was so evident in Kapilji's this wonderful words. I think the best people in India are the people who have not really got educated like us. They have not picked up a BTech or a BArch, or they have not got a PhD. But the ordinary people, in the morning, the lady who comes to my house from the Santal village, about 16 kilometers away, and our house is not that organized. The money is kept here and the watch is kept here. And I think in the last 22 years, there's not been a single occasion of one pilferage in our house. And all these people, they come from the Santal village, the nearby village. And when we move in as educated people, and we have all the conspiracies, all the securities, all the firewalls, and despite that, we have the cyber crimes and the hacking and all the pilferages that happens in a formal, educated world. And when I see that, when I'm seeing that in my last 50, 55 years since I developed consciousness, I begin to wonder what this formal education has really given us. What kind of education have we really got? I mean, that was a spirit which was coming from Kapilji. So when Adi Shankaracharya, as Kapilji said, walked from the south and traversed length and breadth across the country. And when a recent Shankaracharya of our own times, Swami Vivekananda, walked from the north and went to the south and traversed length and breadth of the whole country, I just wonder what simply were they doing. Were they just preaching Vedanta? I think they were assimilating the diversity and the strength and the simplicity that remained and that still remains in the nooks and the corners of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of so-called informal, uneducated people in different corners of the country, I think, who are still carrying the gospel of Vedanta, the gospel of looking at that one truth in everything, the gospel of simplicity and honesty in just an ordinary way of life with shackled clothes. Perhaps in Bengali we say din adi din khai. That means they probably have a meal in the morning and they don't have a meal in the evening. But still they are so honest, still they are so simple. Where is this Bharat, which is pronounced in our Indian knowledge system? When we finish this FDV course, I begin to wonder, Richadi, I'm just taking a take on this faculty development program. Did we actually have a program on science and technology which worked on the cottage industries of India and which has used the semantics and the design principles that have been handed down from over hundreds of generations in this country? Did we have one session on, say, just looking at the Kathakatas or the Kathakalis of India, where we could see the ordinary people singing the Miraki Bhajan, or the simple way we do Gajan in Bengal? Probably the touch of the Parvati Vaul in Netaji Auditorium was just a flash in the whole faculty development program. Did we pick up, or were we able to pick up one person from the ghats of Shipra Nadi, where he or she is preparing some of those lores which has come from the back ends of Bhatrihari, from the Natha Sampradaya, from the lore of Guru Gorakshanath, and the Ganeshwar Kathas that flows through the lanes and the alleys and the hills and the crevices of Sahyadri Mountains in the Western Ghats? I think I'm able to make my point. Did you have one particular session where there was a touch of Lalan Fakir, who is not known much to the rest of India, but it was his poetry from the Maramiya, Baul, Aul Paramparas of the Sufi, Vedantic, Vaishnavite faiths, which Jyotindranath, the elder brother of Tagore, transferred to Rabindranath, and Rabindranath transferred it to wonderful poetries, and which was sent to a man in Ireland, which was Yeats, W.B. Yeats. And when Yeats read that, he said, I'm hearing the voice of my own soul, and this should be referred to the Nobel Prize. And the first Nobel Prize was awarded, and when that came, Tagore silently said, I think this Nobel Prize should go to the Bauls and the Fakirs or Birbhum of Bengal. Yeah. And did we really have one slot in the, did Joyson as an architect take one slot in Vastukala and picked up a brick from the Sindhu Sabhyata and show that the brick which comes from 4000 BCE is still not having the saltpeter action, where bricks become white because of increasing exposure to rain, whereas the bricks that you see on the walls of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, or a latest housing in Kolkata, they are corroding, they're having the saltpeter action. So what is the technology which the unknown technocrats or the builders of Sindhu had, who preserves those bricks in the same way? Did we have a small session on the way we used to do calligraphy within India in the ancient ways through which a portion of the oracular tradition is being maintained till date? And there are different kinds of things which is Worli. There are other shapes which goes to Madhumani. There's one kind of thing which is the Patua of Kalighat Patachitram. There is another kind of approach which the Karali, or what you call the Karalingam tribes of Mysore, they still practice it, and they seem to have some connection with Russia, as the anthropologists say. Did we have a session on, say, on the rock-cut architecture of the Karla caves of Sahyadris, where an architect or a sculptor who had made a proportionate sculpture, which someone showed in a session, Mr. Singh showed that in his session, which had the divine exposure and an immortal move which is there on the sculpture, which has remained there for thousands of years. But still, when you look at the feet of the sculpture, you don't see copyright Joy Sen, or you don't see copyright Raghavji, or you don't see copyright IIT Kharagpur there, but it just remains as a signature of India. Do we have a place for all those things in our Indian knowledge systems? If the answer is yes, what is, in what way? If the answer is no, then what are our first steps to include that? So when we go back to those journeys which Adi Shankara had made from south to north, and what Swamiji had made from north to south, I venture to think, in their journey, they had an eye for these things. And this is what Adi Shankara and Swami Vivekananda was studying and understanding while they are traversing. I think they were assimilating the whole length and breadth of India, so that when Swamiji goes to the United States of America and gives his lecture, late in the evening, by mistake, someone enters the door, and then he finds Swamiji nowhere in the room. And then he checks the other side of the bed and sees Swamiji lying on the floor. Raises him and asks, Swamiji, why are you doing this? This entire beautiful room is dedicated to you. And he turned and he saw tears coming from the eyes of Swamiji. And then, he asked, what's wrong with you, Swamiji? You are so famous. Everybody likes you. You're giving lectures 10 times a day. Swamiji says, that's not the point. I am remembering my countrymen. I'm remembering the state of mind. And that's preventing me to sit on this beautiful bed which has been offered to me in the city of Detroit. So right in the highest point of fame and name, he remembers actual Bharat, which is India, which is perhaps not India. So where is the position of all that? I'm sorry if I have digressed from my sayings or the promise with which I'm sitting here to take a full take and forward. I've watched the entire FDP. I've watched the 2 or 3 others that happened before. But I'm not asking this question to you. I'm just standing in front of a mirror and looking at Joyson and asking the question, what exactly are we doing in the faculty development program? What I have done as a faculty in the last 25, 30 years, how much of Bharat I have assimilated in these little examples that I gave you in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and how much of truth is reflected in the drawing that I make, in the building that I design, in the lectures that I give, in the sketches that I put on the blackboard, in the discussions that I have with my students, and the top-down decisions that I take in administration. How much of that is reflected? If there is a reflection, I think we are harboring on the shores of Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. So if I go back, I'll end with this. If I go back to Kapilji's and his reference to Max Muller, and when Max Muller finally was in London and Swami Vivekananda was leaving the city of London, Dr. Max Muller or Mr. Max Muller and Mrs. Max Muller, two very old man and lady, they came all the way to the London station, holding the hand of Swami Vivekananda and trying to give him a farewell with tears in their eyes and saying, perhaps Swamiji, in this life, I'm not going to see you anymore. But the evening and the night that you have spent with us, it's absolutely immemorable. And I wish, this is what Max Muller said, I wish, Swamiji, that I had met you decades back. Then Swamiji laughed and said, I did not exist a decade back. And he said, I wish I had touched you. So it's not the question of who is an Englishman and who is a German and who is an Indian. It is actually a question of care, concern, and love. It is actually a question of giving, which is arpan, with aspiration, as Kapilji said. It's a question of samarpan. I was just watching this word, which is surrender with aspiration, in the words of Sri Aurobindo. And it's a question of tarpan, which says tripati. Tripati means you sacrifice yourself with satisfaction. Tripati. So in the tarpan, when we give our mantras, it's like a give and take between the microcosm and the macrocosm, between the individual and the cosmos, between the individual loks and the deva loks, the rishi loks, the pitri loks, all the lokas, and it is a give and take. And finally, there are beautiful things in the Tarpan mantra where it says, Brahman lokena. In the entire cosmos, I give my offerings. So I'm just not giving my offerings for my father who has recently died, but I am giving my offerings to all the fathers and all the mothers in all the families in the entire universe. These are the mantras of the Tarpan. And there's a final mantra of the Tarpan where we say that I give the Tarpan to all the friends in my life. And I give the Tarpan to all the foes and all the people who are not friends in my life. They have gone against me. Look at these mantras. Look at this huge magnanimity which exudes from the heart of hearts. And I think this is what Adi Shankaracharya saw, and this is what Swami Vivekananda had seen when they had traversed the length and breadth of Bharatvarsha, when they had touched upon an illiterate lady from the back end of a village, like my wife does today in Kharagpur, when that lady comes to my family. And as I told you, in the last 22 years, there's not a single event of pilferage in my house and things are lying. And she's so honest. She has lost her husband with 4 children, but she carries everything with honesty. And when my wife says, this is our food and you take a portion of the food. And one day she said, Didi, you have your portion? And when we say we have our portion, she takes the remaining portion of food. So I think this simplicity This understanding of humanity at the grassroots level is what is Bharat, is what is Bharat, is what is Bharat. And this is exactly what the Britishers wanted to destroy, but they could not. They could not, because they could not get the entire fold of India under the pit of formal education. So there's a book by John Wilson on India and John Wilson. And if you go to the last chapter of the book, it's called The Great Delusion. And it says that on 15th of August 1947, when the first Prime Minister of India was giving a radio broadcasting to the countrymen of India, the Prime Minister himself, the entire brigade of ministers of India, and the entire broadcasting corporation of India had no idea, this is what John Wilson is writing in that book, had no idea that this audio system, the All India Radio, just had access to about 8 to 9% of the urban population of India. So about 92% of the urban population of India did not hear what the Prime Minister had said on the midnight of 1947. So this is, on the one hand, underdevelopment, and on the other hand, this is a grace, because about 92% of India was not touched by the British. They could not touch it. And it is in this 92% of India, Adi Shankaracharya and Swami Vivekananda had moved, and they had gathered. And there, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara and Bharatiya Jnana Pranali still remains, not in the formal archives. So there must be a huge and significant portion of the efforts of Indian knowledge system to actually remain in this undisturbed, untouched continuity. And this is just not a wonder that was, but this is a wonder that is Bharat. Thank you.
Poetic land of Tagore. I think the theme, if you were to look at the address that Kapilji gave and the sonorous exposition that Joyda has just given us, it is about responsibility. It is about imagining the way forward not as some responsibility of curriculum, but of representing the spirit of Bharat to truly become one with that spirit. Thank you so much for taking us through the geography, taking us through the traditions, and telling us about that woman from Santal tribe who outlasted an empire. So thank you for that. Kapilji, last comments from you, sir, and also give us your blessings. We have about 5 minutes. We'd like to hear from you.
I first must share my the impact that Joy Senji's wonderful knitting of what the two great saints from 7th century and 19th century, what they shared and how they, in the same mode, they communicated with the people. I suppose the essence is communicating with the people. संवाद लोगों के साथ और लोक भाषा में, in the language of the people. That was the key. And Joy Senji is perfectly right. He says that what we here are trying or claiming to reactivate or preserve or maintain, in fact, it is very much alive and it permeates the masses. It is in the minds of the people. It's very much there. And I think it's not the knowledge is lost. I think it is a section of us people who are lost to that knowledge. Lost to that. And therefore, it is important to reconnect the mainstream education mainstream education must be reconnected with the powerful, attested textual traditions of India. You see, now it's not just a question of that we are saying that we have a long tradition in grammar and all that, but then when we teach linguistics, then we should, bring in our texts, and there are attested texts. In so many disciplines, we have continuous cumulative tradition of texts from the primary source text to the latest commentary that might have happened in 18th century or so. So we have to bring in these things. We have to bring in these things. In fact, we can even think of, creating a university with diverse disciplines in which the knowledge resource is from our own heritage, from Sanskrit, Prakrit, Pali, and Old Tamil. And if you look at any detailed program of a 4-year Oriental Congress, Sanskrit conference, which generally happens in Europe, whether it is Europe who started a conference on Sanskrit. They didn't start any conference on Latin and Greek, but on Sanskrit. So if you look at their program, you find that there are 29, 31 disciplines which they cover. So we should have a university in which we teach and we depend on our own texts, and we take multifarious disciplines. And I assure you, all the modern disciplines will find a place there. We take policy decisions there, that the original texts of our tradition, which come in these 4 languages, we will make them available in modern Indian language translations, modern Indian languages. We are always keen on translating something into English. It's of no use. A limited readership. We should translate our knowledge texts into modern Indian languages and make them available to teachers and students. And we should, cultivate. It will be the natural byproduct of such an effort will be that we will start thinking, reflecting. You can make original contribution only if you work in your own tradition. Only if you work in your own tradition. If you work in the other man's tradition, अब गीता में तो बड़ा साफ लिखा है, अपने धर्म में to fail in performing your dharma is better than succeeding in the dharma of the other person. You see? If we build ourselves on our own heritage, after all, whether it is contemporary European thought or all the growth of science and reason, it has its source in the Indian tradition, whether it is decimal or zero or pi or numerals or Pythagoras theorem, whatever they call it, you see, we have. So we will not be anachronistic if we build our study on our own tradition. Then, because we will be using our own languages as medium, then masses will be involved in the exercise, large masses. Right now, 90% are excluded because they don't have English. Or they can't go to the Supreme Court and understand the judgment. So masses will be there, and from quantity, the quality will emerge. So I think we should have the guts, an act of courage, just like Macaulay. On a sudden order, on a single day, next morning you get up, or like Modi ji, who demonetized the currency. Let us demonetize English in a single gesture in the universities. And you will find that nothing will happen. In 2-3 years, not only things will fall back into system, but we will be proceeding very rapidly forward. Very rapidly forward. I hope that such thing can happen, will happen, and I am around. And Joy Senji, once again, my respectful regards and greetings to you, sir. for initiating this first FDP in devoted to science and technology. Very important. And what you have said, sir, you have said that we have not gone to the cottage industry. We have not gone to Kathakali. We have not gone to our 64 kalas. And sir, you are in a position as the progenitor of this FDP to suggest that the next FDP should be on the 64 kalaएं and the ordinary knowledge in the ordinary people and in the ordinary community. Let us go to the cottage and let us go to the Kathakali, as you say. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. अगला इसमें होना चाहिए ना 64 कलाओं में